Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm only going to be on here for a second. I'm not going to talk for too long, believe it or not. um, I hope everybody's doing well today. I hope your life is as great as it should be. Um, as you know, my name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm hanging out with you guys to talk about life in Black America and what it means to be Black and all that good other good stuff. Give me a second here. I gotta do something. So quickly, I wanted to kind of talk about something that I just saw. I just watched this video on, on the root.com of all places, which, the root.com is, like when they talk about fake news and all that, they might want to put the root high on the list because they pretty much do a huge disservice to Black people in terms of how they do their journalism. And basically how they misrepresent so much of the Black community. They're sort of a front for sort of a gay white liberal agenda. And much of what they do is just not authentic. It's not honest. It's not helpful to anybody, except for the people that own them, who are not Black. They're white. They're out of South America, and basically a lot of people sort of believe in this false idea of a Black-brown coalition between Black people and people from Latin America, and that's just not true. Actually, the reality, and I'm in Colombia right now. In Colombia, there's a lot of segregation based on race. In the area that I first came down to, I was like, well, where are all the Black people? Aren't there Black people in Colombia? And they say, yeah, but they live on the other side of town. And when a lot of Colombians were asked about the Black people, they said a lot of really negative things about them. There really is no sort of respect for people of color. Even myself as a Black man in this neighborhood, when I'm walking around the neighborhood, when I'm doing stuff, I get funny looks like, what are you doing here? And I think that because I'm an American, I'm sort of seen a little differently, because I don't really feel out of place. I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. But the racism's real. Like I can tell in the eyes of the people, like, that they don't really mess with Black folks like that. So I think that, anybody who runs around telling you that there's some sort of magical coalition between Black people and all people from Latin America, that's just not true. Basically, white Hispanics are nothing more than white people who speak Spanish. That's pretty much what it is. That's what it is. So what's going on, Kim? I see Kim is in here, spiritually lifted, and Rothy Dunnigan. Good to see you. Let me see here. There's somebody wrote a funny comment. I'm gonna check it out in a minute. I just hit the refresh button. But let me tell you guys what I just saw. Okay, here Denise says, "Good morning, Dr. Boyce. I enjoy your hour-long chat. Your knowledge resources you need to be aware of, indeed." Oh well, thank you, Denise. That's a nice thing to say. A lot of people get mad at me for talking on and on and on. And I'm glad. I'm always happy to tell people to leave my YouTube channel. Like, just don't come to the channel. Like, if you're gonna complain, like, just go somewhere else. But here's something I wanted to kind of put into your ear a little bit. I watched a video from the Root. Again, the Root is, kind of into that white liberal stuff. They're kind of white liberals in blackface for the most part. And I saw a video, and on the video, they had one of the speakers on this video at this Rock the Vote event, which they hold a lot of these when the Democrats are trying to get Black people riled up to go vote. They'll have a lot of Rock the Vote events. They'll do a lot of stuff to make Black people feel like, okay, this is your chance to be empowered by voting. And I'm not anti-voting at all. I will never, ever tell people not to vote. I never say that. But what makes me one of the most dangerous Black men in America is the fact that I will tell Black people to make their own decision. That's something that they don't want you to do. They don't want you to have your own decision. And just know that just me saying make your own decision is enough that the same way they ban people like Alex Jones and others from social media, don't be surprised if they take me off. Facebook has banned me for 30 days because I said that illegal immigration does not benefit Black people. We vote against our interests. They consider that to be hate speech, even though I just said I don't support illegal immigration. I don't understand how it benefits anybody. I'm not anti-immigration. I just don't support illegal immigration because I've seen Black people be harmed by it. We lose a lot of jobs because the wages keep dropping. The violence in Chicago is connected to illegal immigration because Bloomberg wrote an article where they connected a lot of the homicides in Chicago to drug cartels that were illegally coming across the border and bringing all the drugs and guns to Chicago. So I haven't seen anywhere where there's a quid pro quo, where there's a mutual benefit for Black people to support illegal immigration. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, so this lady, her name is Tarana Burke. Tarana Burke, if you remember her name, she actually was the founder of the Me Too movement. She's a Black woman, and she's the first one to say Me Too and put it on social media, and everybody picked it up and kind of ran, ran with it, turned it into something other than what I think she wanted it to be. But she said something that really, really got my attention that I thought was really interesting. She said, people, what was the quote? Because I saw it on Twitter. And she said something like, people prayed, marched, and walked so you could have the right to vote. So the least you can do to support them and show respect for them is to go show up and vote. Now, again, I'm not here to tell Black people not to vote. I'm not here to tell you that Donald Trump is a good president. I'm not here to say any of that. What I am here to say is that your ancestors did not die for you to have the right to vote. They did not die for you to have the right to go vote for a Democrat or a Republican. Your ancestors died for you to have the right to be free. Freedom means that nobody can force you into a decision that you do not want to make. Nobody should be allowed to pressure you into doing something that you do not want to do. I know a lot of very intelligent Black people and a lot of high level, very intelligent political scientists who understand the theory of political science at an extremely high level, who say that actually withholding your vote and abstaining at times can be just as effective as voting for someone that you know does not represent your interests. Now, again, I'm not here at any level. Don't you ever dare let anybody tell you, oh, Dr. Boyce is out here telling Black people not to vote. No, they consider me to be a threat because I'm telling Black people to make your own decision. I'm promoting Black independence, Black freedom. They don't want Black people to be free. They want you to have a better pimp. That's what it is. If you go back to the civil rights, not civil rights, the Civil War, where all this came from is after the Civil War, the only strength, the only power Black people could get was not authentic power. It was not power that came from the core of the community, from the diaphragm of the Black experience. It was power that came from having powerful allies. It was borrowed power. It was artificial power. It was the white liberals who, the abolitionists, God bless them, wonderful people. They went out there and they fought and died and did all kinds of things to really help the cause. So I respect these people for their sacrifice. But that was the only source of power Black people could have. Even Frederick Douglass, he was pushed ahead by the fact that so many white liberals had his back. So that can be a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But the problem with that, though, is that when you are looking for a ride and you're riding on somebody else's bus, then you need to go at the speed they want you to go. You need to go in the direction that they want you to go. You never get to take control of the steering wheel. You are always a passenger if they let your Black ass on the bus. So basically, at this point, what I'm asking for from Black people is I'm saying, let's have another revolution. We need another revolution where you go from borrowed power to authentic power. Borrowed power to authentic power. You go from having power that belongs to somebody else that they're letting you use to having power that you create within your own community that you're using for your own purposes. That is a very difficult direction to go. It's like a company going from operating on 99% debt to operating on 99% equity. Equity means you own it. That's net worth, that's power. Debt means somebody else owns it. They're just letting you control it, right? So what I'm saying is that the part of the reason that I am a threat to the establishment, also part of the reason that a lot of people aren't going to get what I say is because I'm speaking a language that we are still learning, that we as Black people have never learned, because slavery disempowered you. Slavery made you kind of want to suck up to anybody that'll protect you. Slavery made you afraid of what's going to happen if you dare stand up to the pimps that have made their money by controlling you. But what I'm trying to say to you is that our ancestors, I don't think that the final stop for us as people should be that we have to do what the Democratic Party tells us to do or what the Republican Party tells us to do. I think that the final stop for Black people is when we do what we want to do. So I'm not advocating for people to not vote. I'm repeating that over and over because what happens is when you get lying media outlets like The Root and The Griot, where they're getting, well, I don't say The Griot, I'm not putting The Griot in that category, but when people are getting money from the Democratic Party to get black people to go vote and put Democrats in office who do nothing for your community, then those people see, anybody who speaks like I speak, they see that as a threat to the process. So some white person comes along and tells them, put that nigga in check. You need to slow that nigga down. Let me give you a real life example of something that happened to me about a few years ago. It's a true story. Valerie Jarrett was in the Obama White House. Valerie Jarrett was Obama's chief of staff, I believe, at the time. I spoke to Dr. Wilmer Leon from Howard University about the fact that Valerie Jarrett had been blocking, allegedly, according to Dr. Leon, had been blocking meetings between Obama and authentic black leadership. That basically, when even fake black leadership, she allowed him to meet with Al Sharpton over and over again because Al Sharpton really wasn't going to do anything. He was pretty much an employee of the Obama administration. The Congressional Black Caucus was trying to meet with Obama. She kept blocking the meetings. She's blah 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 blah. And of course they didn't want to meet with any real leaders that really had substance, like Cornel West, or was it Dr. Claude Anderson, or even Jesse Jackson couldn't come into the White House, right? So anyway, let me sorry, I heard a noise. So anyway, so I mentioned this, right? I wrote this in an article, and Valerie Jarrett got hold of this article. She read it. She was pissed because it was kind of lifting up the veil of the veil of, what's the word, the artificial veil over the Obama presidency. It kind of lifted it up a little bit and said, look, black people, this is really what you're getting. This is not what you think it is, right? And so she gets on the phone with Sharpton and is telling Sharpton to basically shut this guy down. So next thing I know, Sharpton's trying to shut me down and control me, right? Now, obviously that's not going to work, but I remember kind of thinking, wow, this is so interesting that you have people that are kind of operatives for a political party, and their job in many cases, they're almost like political bosses. Their job of a political boss is to deliver votes from a particular group of people. And if anybody in that group stands up against that system, your job as the boss is to squash that, right? So what I'm really trying to say is that the effort to control the black vote is very sinister. They could easily get black votes if they simply did more things for black people. If you put more black issues on the table, if you talked about reparations, if you really came up with real solutions to build black businesses, a couple $1 billion in funding for all these black businesses out here, they can't get loans, but they don't want to do that. It's easier instead to put that money or put resources into crushing black people, or to somehow shaming those like myself or others who come out and say, well, what are y'all really doing for us? Now I want to show y'all something I put up today. I thought this was really funny. I'm just to kind of laugh about it. And a lot of people got this joke. I didn't know if anybody's going to get my sense of humor is so weird, but I personally think I'm hilarious. But sometimes I wake up and I just put funny memes up on my Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1, Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you just put the number 1 at the end. And so anyway, so this says, this is the man who waited for the Democratic Party to solve problems in the black community. Y'all see that? So basically, it was just something kind of funny I popped up there just to kind of make this basic point that all these people that are rushing to tell you to go out and, rock the vote and acting like this is like the only thing you can do to possibly have any form of empowerment whatsoever. I want you to challenge those people. And I want you to say, how has the Democratic Party really truly changed the lives of black people on the issues that matter most to us? Don't talk about LGBT because they're black gay people, but in that case you're only helping black people coincidentally. You're not deliberately targeting black people. So you're helping gay people, and some of them happen to be black, right? Don't talk about the feminism stuff because there are black women out here, but we know how black women get disrespected by the feminist movement anyway. And on top of that, again, that's coincidental support. This was for white women. Show me something where black people were at the top of the agenda as opposed to people who just happened to get helped by a bigger agenda, by another agenda, by a white agenda. And so they most of the time, 9 times out of 10, they can't come up with anything. They'll come up with like really simple, silly stuff like, well, remember My Brother's Keeper, the initiative, My Brother's Keeper? Okay, that was one initiative, and I haven't seen any results from that anywhere. I haven't seen anything anywhere that's shown me that this has really had a massive impact on the state of the black community all the way across the board. So all I'm going to say is I'm not telling anybody not to vote. Make sure you fix that narrative. Like, so when people start saying, well, Dr. Boyce is telling black people not to vote, this is why, places like Radio One and TV One are nervous about people like me, because a lot of them get financial support, especially during election time. The Democratic Party makes it rain on a lot of black media outlets, and they need the money. So the reason I talk about money and controlling money is because a lot of us are slaves because of money. So they don't have freedom because they don't have money. So because Radio One is deep in debt and having severe financial problems, they're going to take every penny they can get from the Democratic Party to run whatever ad they want them to run. Also, check this out. There was a brother I knew who, a famous guy, famous rapper, who went on to a radio outlet, a black radio outlet, and they were told before the interview, do not mention Bernie Sanders at all. You cannot mention Bernie Sanders. And basically what they were doing is saying, we don't want black people to even know that they have another option besides Hillary Clinton, right? And that is sinister. That is wrong. That is unethical. Almost time ago? Okay. All right, thank you. And so basically what I'm saying is anybody who withholds information from you, that's not your friend, that's your pimp. Anybody who withholds information from you because they think they know what's best for you and that you don't know what's best for you is not your friend. That ain't nothing but your pimp. And if you think all pimps are mean, all pimps beat their prostitutes and mistreat them, no, that's not true. Good pimps are good to their hookers. As long as she stay in line, I ain't got to smack her, right? So basically, black people, when you're down with these liberals and the liberals put their agenda at the top and your agenda off the table, they're nothing more than benevolent pimps. They're nothing more than pimps who don't beat you as bad as the evil pimp down the street. So that's pretty much it. That's all I want to share with you guys. If you want to know what life is like without a pimp, feel free to join us at the All Black National Convention. The All Black National Convention happens in Philadelphia. Just know it before the fact. I know how these gays work. They're going to try to discredit us. They're going to try to discredit me. They're going to try to discredit everything we're doing. That's what they do. That's their game. And I understand that. I don't have a problem with that because I understand how dirty politics works and I understand what it means to actually compete. And when you really compete, when you really become a threat, that's when your enemies start to use dirty tricks to try to stop you, just like they do with Farrakhan. Think about this. Farrakhan's at Aretha Franklin's funeral. Everybody talks on the stage except Farrakhan. Well, that's another dirty trick they use to make sure, because they know that they don't want him to open his mouth, because they know that if Farrakhan were to get up there and speak, he would shift the thinking of millions of black people. And they're like, we do not want Farrakhan to influence the minds of our niggas. That's their mindset. We don't want Farrakhan raising black people out of the nigga mentality. We need niggas to come and keep us in office, and we need the black people to do what they've been doing and supporting us and not asking questions. Again, that's another thing a pimp does. A pimp don't want his hoes asking questions, right? So ultimately, at the end of the day, people already come after me. The Roots come after me. A lot of black liberals come after me because they don't understand freedom. They've never known what that feels like, and that's okay. I understand that. And I want you to understand that. I want you to spend less time being mad and more time building, more time fighting, more time moving forward, right? So if you want to know more about the convention, it's the end of this month. This is the place where we're going to gather. We're making plans for the future. We're building the next 50 to 100 years for the black community. We forgive our enemies because our enemies' children are going to come to our children to get a job one day. We forgive you because one day you're going to come to our billionaire families and you're going to ask us to help you, and we are going to help you because we want to help the whole community. But right now we might not want to mess with you because we're trying to get some grown folks work done. So you do keep doing what you're doing, but we're going to be over here building something very, very special. So at the convention, Dr. Claude Anderson's coming. Who else? Dr. Shauna Etienne, Michi X from Fly Nubian and Queen. A whole lot of amazing people. Kenny Gamble from Gamble and Huff, who bought up his whole neighborhood, gentrified his entire community, is going to be there to explain how you can do black gentrification and actually buy up the buildings in your community by creating funds and bringing money together. Who else is going to be there? Nicole Compton, an attorney, is going to teach people how to get their business off the ground. We're going to have Dr. Shauna Etienne teaching about how to maintain healthy love and relationships so your family can become an empire and you can actually build like our strong people in Africa who build wealth by building strong families. We're going to have all kinds of stuff going on. Of course, I'll be there. I'll be teaching how to invest in the stock market. We'll be talking about what were the other stuff? There's so many things. Julian Gordon, a Stanford graduate, is going to be there to talk about how to quit your job, how to get off the plantation. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on. It's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. It's an amazing experience. So if you want to know more, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. We do not get funding from any political party. I don't care if you voted for Obama. I don't care if you voted for Trump. I don't care if you voted for Mr. Peacock down the street. I don't care if you didn't vote. As long as you're voting for Black people, then you're welcome to the convention. So don't think that because you're a Republican, you're not welcome. Or don't think that because you're a Democrat, you're not welcome. It's okay to be all those other things if you want. It's almost like it's like going on a basketball court and me worrying about what kind of clothes you're going to wear after you leave the court. I don't care what clothes you wear when you leave the court. All I care about is that you show up in your uniform and you're ready to play. All I care is that you show up in your uniform says Team Black People and you're ready to dunk a basketball with me. After that, you can put on whatever clothing you want. You can dress with style and flash. You can put on a three-piece suit. You can wear a damn bikini out the door. That don't matter to me. So you could be so as long as you show up to the convention and you are Team Black People, we are cool. That means when you leave that building, you could be a Democrat. I don't care. You could be a Republican. That doesn't matter. You could be a rich person. That's cool. You could be a street dude. That's cool too. You could be gay. That's fine as well. All of that's cool. Every bit of that is cool. You could be a feminist. That is cool too. But as long as you are Team Black People, when you get to that convention and you understand the importance of cultural authenticity in the sense of having sovereignty about the future of your people, then that's what welcomes you to the convention. Okay. So the URL, if you want to learn more or check out the live stream, you can also sign up for the live stream, is allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So I gotta go, guys. My breakfast is ready. My brother's having a baby today. His wife is, and literally she's dilated. They broke her water, so we're about to eat and go ahead to the hospital. So I'm about to be an uncle right now. So we already got the 30-year plan for my niece, so that she'll be a millionaire by the age of 30. And I'm going to explain to you guys all of this. In fact, at the convention, I'm going to unveil my $1 billion families plan. How every family who does basic things within a 1-week period can set their family up where your family will be worth at least 70 to $100 million, and even as much as $1 billion in a 100-year period. Though you got to give it 100 years. Great empires are built over 50 or 100 years. They're not built overnight. We're building the empire, so we're not worried about 2118. We're not worried about the year 2018. We're thinking about 2118. We're thinking 100 years into the future, and that's why people don't get us, because we are 100 years ahead of everyone else. And I know this why, because I'm a professor. I'm a PhD in finance. I'm one of the few black men on earth to have a PhD in finance. So I've done the analysis. I've done the mathematics. I know this is going to work. So stick with me. Let's get this done. Let's make it happen. I love you. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good day. Peace.